Hello, everybody. I'm Henrik Kronqvist, and I'm the Dean of the Argyris College of Business and Economics at Chapman University in Southern California. And today we're very excited to be able to talk to one of our MBA graduates, class of 2016, Francisco Juanillo. And he's currently Global Merchandise Planner at Lululemon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tori Wynn. I'm your student representative, and I graduate in the class of 2026 for the Argyris College of Business and Economics program. And I'm so excited to have Francisco here with us. Let's kick it off with the first question by asking, what parts of your career journey have led you to where you are today? If you guys do not know, Francisco is with our MBA program, so he has a lot of experience that comes with it less than undergrads.
I'm super excited to be here. What led me to my career? Well, before getting my MBA at Chapman University, I actually received a degree in journalism and public relations at Cal State Long Beach as my undergrad, which is very different. I actually did that for about 3 years at various internships and jobs and realized that that wasn't going to be my long-term career. And luckily, when I was doing those that internship and those jobs, I realized that I really like working with analytics and finance and numbers, and that's something that I wanted to do long term, and made the decision to go back to school. And that's when I decided to get my degree in business, because that's something that I didn't study in undergrad. And so when I made the jump to get my MBA at Chapman, and working through various courses at Chapman, they gave us the opportunity to, do projects on various business companies that of our choosing. And I just realized that I found myself always choosing companies such as Nike, Ralph Lauren, and doing projects on those companies. I always had a passion for fashion, for sneakers, for just the latest trends in streetwear. And that's when I realized that I wanted to make a career out of that, mixing in my passion with fashion, and then my new passion with analytics. And so coming out of Chapman, realized that there was various opportunities in that industry at different roles, in terms of different roles such as finance, supply chain, marketing, and whatnot. And when there was opportunity as an allocations analyst, I guess that's when I kicked off my career in the fashion industry. And at the same time, wanted to move in more as a planner role, because that worked more with finance, with sales, with analyzing data, sales history. And that's when I realized that planning was the route for me. And I actually went on to become a planner at PacSun and Guess as well before my time at Lululemon.
It's amazing. By the way, the phrase, mixing passion with fashion. I think that's a term that you invented right here. So you have been with several high-profile brands in the fashion industry. You mentioned Guess. You have been with Puma. You have been with PacSun. Now Lululemon. So a lot of these fashion companies have different kind of departments related to design, merchandising, planning. So for our audience of perhaps students that are thinking about going into the industry, can you, in brief, explain a little bit what is the difference between those different departments?
Yes, in my career, I've been lucky to work with all these cross-functional departments such as design, marketing, as you mentioned, and everybody has a different role. And it's been amazing to kind of see what everybody brings to the table at these companies. Very briefly, one of the more important cross-functional departments I work with is the merchandising or buying team. They're really in charge of creating the product line for the company. So they work from everything from designing the product, and they do that by seeing what's the latest trends. They see what competitors are doing as well, and they're responsible for creating the product lines years in advance. For example, currently my merchandise team, they're working on summer 2026. So that's how far along those teams can be working or looking ahead. Additionally, working with the marketing team, whenever we have campaigns that the marketing team have created, it's really good to understand what is the product that they're marketing? Is it going to be the launch of a new sneaker? Is it a new apparel collection that's launching? And when I work with them, I use that information to, change our sales plans accordingly. So if we know that there's going to be a big global campaign in Q2, then I accordingly make sure that I adjust sales, inventories, so there's enough product in stores to meet the demand. If it's an online campaign or social media campaign as well, how does that track back to our website, and how does that lift sales as well? So using all that information from marketing team really helps us plan our sales as well. And really briefly, worked not as closely, but have had the opportunity of working with operations. There's been opportunities where I have to work with the warehouse, because we have to understand what if there's a delay in the shipment, if there's a delay in getting our inventory to store. That way, if there's any adjustments that we have to make to our plans, we work very closely with them, working with supply chain as well. We work at Lululemon, we work really closely with our vendors. And so understanding if there's ever any issue with securing raw materials, if there's ever any opportunity to use our forecasts to send to the vendor so they could start forecasting their capacity as well as a vendor, to making sure that they have the machinery, they have the raw materials, as I mentioned, and even the workforce. So all in all, it's really amazing that there's so many different departments within the fashion industry, and we all have the same objective of, making sales and making sure we have the best product out there for our consumers. And we all work really closely to, achieve our goals.
That's a really great answer. I really like how everything is customer oriented. As we know in business, that's very, very important. And so that brings me to one of my favorite questions that I love to ask our guests, which is, how did your experience at Chapman change your views of the working world today? Did we teach you anything special, or is there a specific class that we should look forward to?
Yes, I think for me, at my time at Chapman, what really helped me grow personally and professionally was definitely the networking events, the Q&As where we have special guests, because the hard skills that we learn in classrooms can be applied to various companies, different industries, but sometimes it's those soft skills that that if you develop, really come in hand in business as well. Because in any business, whether it's be the fashion industry or any industry, building that connection, that network really helps you in your everyday task. You're able to communicate with different departments. You're able, if you have a role where you have to negotiate, having those skills go a long way as well. And I think that's something that during my time in Chapman, I really grew as professionally, as well as presenting. I think, in my time in Chapman, different classes, we had to present to our peers. And that goes a long way as well, because I lead meetings on a weekly basis with different departments at our company. And, having those presentation skills, communication skills come in handy and presenting your point of view, presenting your results, your sales results, excuse me. And it goes a long way to becoming a leader within the company as well. In terms of class, there's many classes that I enjoyed at my time in Chapman. One of them being the strategy class, which was our capstone class, my second year there, which was really amazing because it gave us a chance to analyze different companies. And I think that created the experience more so of how to analyze different situations and where to actually pinpoint opportunities and risk. Because at my role, like when you're dealing with product in the fashion industry, you really have to make decisions that affect, not just sales in current in season, like week to week, but also when we're planning 2 years ahead, understanding what's trending and what's not trending, and having that critical thinking to kind of like pinpoint those trends is really key. And so I think that class really helped us kind of have a bigger overview of how to analyze companies, not just within the sales, but also within their their operations, their leadership, kind of their demographics of who they're selling to as well. Because as Lululemon, as a global brand, we have to understand a global market. And so having the opportunity to kind of like have that vision really goes a long way.
Excellent. Francisco, so one question that probably a lot of students have is, you have been with many of these high profile brands in the fashion industry. So what is your advice for how do you get into the industry? What are some of the things that you can do as a student to prepare yourself the best to enter into the fashion industry? What would be a couple of points of advice that you would have?
Yes, I think one of the advice that I would give to a student, just speaking from my experience, and kind of redirecting careers where I studied journalism and public relations as an undergrad, and then realizing that, I had a passion in fashion and with analytics. I think that my advice is just to have an open mind of just every industry. When I was at Chapman, getting my MBA, my emphasis was in finance, but I made sure to take various courses in different subjects because it just opens up your minds to different departments such as marketing, supply chain, statistics, and all in all these courses and subjects will help you one way or another in the future. And I think instead of having, just a tunnel vision to one industry or one department is great if you know that's what you want, that's what you're passionate about. But even if you know what you want and what you're passionate about, having that open, you just being open to new subjects will help you in a long way. Because if it wasn't for some of these subjects at school, like in marketing, I work with the marketing team now. I'm able to kind of relate to their day in and day out objectives, their responsibilities, and I could connect with them at that point. And so I think my biggest recommendation to any student Chapman is just be open. Just be open to classes, going to different speaker series so you can learn about different industries is always something that I think will help find a student's passion. They might not be aware that, hey, you know what, I'm actually interested in the fashion industry. Let me go to the speaker series to understand what their experience is like, or going to a beverage speaker series. And so I think just having that open-minded about different career routes is definitely beneficial for students.
That's really great to hear. I'm really glad that we have talked about so many things like your passions, your careers, your work life, and your student life at Chapman University. But the last piece of thing is, what is one quote or something that you can say to end off this podcast to the rest of our viewers listening here today?
Yes, if there's one quote, I think there's a quote that I live by, and it's nothing is impossible. Growing up in Southern California, I was originally born in Mexico, and to have these opportunities come up, for me, if I was in high school, I would say, oh, that's impossible. I'll never be working at these global brands. And I think when I say nothing is impossible, is anything could be possible if you have a plan. And for me, I'm really, being a planner as a professional, but in personal life as well. If you set goals, if you set a plan saying like, hey, in 5 years, I want to get my MBA, then you backtrack and say like, okay, to reach that goal, what do I have to do? I have to study for an exam to get into school. I need to get letters of recommendation, et cetera, et cetera. You set these tasks ahead of you. And as you hit each of these tasks, you're striving to hit your overall goal. And so for me, as long as you have a plan and you stick to it, and you work hard and you're open to new opportunities, nothing's impossible.
Very good. I mean, I couldn't think about a better answer from someone that is both a professional and a personal planner. And so we're going to wrap it here for today. And we have had the pleasure today to talk to Francisco Juanillo, who is an MBA graduate from our school, class of 2016, who works in planning, global merchandise planning at Lululemon. Thank you so much for your time today. You've had a lot of success already in your career, and we look forward to following it going forward as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.